Hi all. So I've been working on AI agents for quite a while now, and I thought why not to share a video on how to create AI agents from scratch. We've been all using frameworks like LangChain and Creo AI and whatnot, but have you ever thought of building out AI agents from scratch, like just using Python? So today in this video, we'll be talking about how to actually build AI agents from scratch, and we'll go through the whole process. So yeah, let's get started. I'll just move this video here. So we have this AI agent project here that I have deployed on GitHub. You can find the link below. The point is we will be building an AI agent from scratch with two tools, and I'll show you how to build those tools out. So the first thing is we'll be using a very simple API, that is OpenAI API, and basic Python to build this whole thing. And we'll be using tools. So the first tool is basically calculator.py, that is just a simple calculator that will build for making the agent run calculations, because AI agents are not that great in calculating, mathematical, like LLMs are not that great in calculating mathematical expressions and everything, like integrations and everything. And the next thing is to give it current knowledge date. We will be using search agent. So we have this two codes here. All right, so getting started, the first thing that we need to use is the OpenAI API, of course. So loading the OpenAI API from the environment variables, and then we are using a system prompt, that is you are a helpful assistant, and basically initiating this class. And after that, we are basically using a messages dot append. This is basically used to uh, store the entire chat history, chat conversation in your RAM, basically. That's used because the AI agent needs to understand what is the context of the chat. For example, if you ask him, what's the president of US? And it replies you, it's Donald J. Trump, and and you can just ask what's his age. So it will basically have the context of what you are speaking with it, right? So yeah, that being said, we can try this out. So we'll try this out and see how does this work. So you just need to call the agent class, and inside that you can just send a message. So I'll just ask it a generic question like, what is the capital, right? What is the capital of India? All right. So, and the capital of India is New Delhi. So, right now it's a very generic question. So, let's ask some harder question that basically need search, but it will not be able to reply those kind of things, right? So, what's the recent research papers in RAG in July 2025? And let's run this thing. And sorry, my database is up to 2023, and yeah, it will not be able to reply. So we're building two agent tools that will actually help you do all of these things. And the first one is basically a search agent. So the search agent is nothing but it's an exa API. So I'll show you how to build exa APIs. You can basically use their SDK, or you can basically use it through um, the OpenAI API key, whatever you want. So it has like four endpoints, basically deep research, just answer, scrolling, and search. I've used the search API key, and if you want to use it with Exa, that's how you do it. So I'll just show you how does Exa API works. So um, if I kind of use search.py, and I should be getting a response. Okay, so who is the president of USA? As of now, let's just basically copy this code and run it in Python. Okay, and let's just wait for the answer. That's it. So Donald J. Trump is 47th president of US, and we're getting this whole answer. The point is that we will be making an AI agent that will basically um, that will be able to do this tool calls, and it will receive all of this data back to the LLM as input, and then it will make sense of that data, and it will use further tool calls or make a final answer based on the mission it is provided, right? So that's the whole point as of now. So this is one tool. It's very simple. Just the X API is getting called. And one more tool that we have built, that I've built, is basically a calculator tool. Now you can build your own calculator functions like addition, subtraction, but I personally like to use the Wolfram API because also like Perplexity has also integrated Wolfram API into it. And the specialty of this is basically you can give the input in string as a natural language, and LLMs are great at just generating questions and answers at natural language. So if you just give a very good input like this, uh, solve this equation, right, and it will give you proper answer. So let's just try calculator.py, and yeah, so the assumption is this, and the answer is this, and this could be anything. So what we're doing here is basically we're taking in the LangChain community utilities Wolfram Alpha. You can directly use the Wolfram API and you can search for its documentation, but for time management, for not wasting much time, I just found this block of code on the internet, and this seems to be working. And LangChain has very good abstractions that you can use. So yeah, we are using LangChain with Wolfram, and this is just a wrapper. So that's about it. You have to call Wolfram Alpha API wrapper for LangChain, and basically calling this function will give you the answer in natural language. All right, so let's just ask any other question, like addition of some random number plus random number, and we can multiply this by 8, right? So let's just write. Okay, so basically you have to write the language properly. Right. So, yeah, you have to give the input properly. That's how everything works. So that's how you got the answer basically. All right. Um, that's about it. So you have got basically two tools, the calculator pi and the search.py. And then I'll be shifting to the main code block that will actually, where I have actually implemented the whole agent. So this is basically the main code block. It's a small code that I have implemented. So what changed here is basically I'm using like instead of the system message, a single system message, I'm using the system prompt. So if you go to the system prompt and I break down to you whatever is written here, it's very simple. So the first thing written is you are a helpful system assistant and you have access to these tools. So the first tool is basically tool one, which is web search. The arguments can be used like this. Inside search, you take a form of string in form of question, and it will return you these variables, and this is how to use it. So search who is the last emperor of China, and I have attached a sample response altogether, whatever you get from XI API, so that the model understands. So that's how you get it. And tool number two is basically calculator, and this is basically Wolfram Alpha API, and this is how you can use it. So explain the problem in short and natural language, and the assumption is in string format. That's how you solve the equation, and that's how you will get the answer, right? So basically, this should be in the next line. Correct. Okay. So and then we have got something else. Like this is process on how to solve the problem step by step. So, for example, if the agent has been given a question, and how do I want it to think in a way so that it does not breaks my code, right? So I will be giving, it will be generating the input question that it will be giving. So that will be coming inside the response itself. And then I am getting the thought, like how you're trying to think you will solve the problem. And then the action. So the action will be one of the search tools that you want. So if I'm asking you to combine GDP of India plus China, so basically your action should be, what is GDP of India, what's GDP of China, and in the third step, addition of both those GDP's values, right? And the action input is basically these are the inputs that you want to go through in the action input and then pause. And now what we will do is basically we will use simple Python tricks and tactics to just filter out those strings and kind of run the code by filtering out the response. So it greatly depends on the LLM what it is generating. If it is not generating properly, we have to use systems and processes, and we have to use better responses and better search tools, right? That's the whole code basically. And then um, you also have to think about, for example, what if it has got the answer? So it cannot just go on like this, like so. It has to print out stop. So we'll basically filter out the value, filter out the stop string here, and we'll basically stop the code. That's how everything will be working on. All right. So let's get here. Everything is basically same. We're passing in the system prompt dot text, that's it's here, and then we are using the GPT-4o mini model that's very cheap, and we're using the messages dot append so as to remember the conversation history. And then we are basically using an extract action function that's basically taking in the action and the action input. You have to figure out where the action and the action input is. And basically, you're returning what is the action and what is the action input that the LLM is trying to output, right? And after that, we also have one more extract answer function where the LLM is trying to get the extracted answer, right? And then we have the main function where we have the run agent, where it takes in the query, and the query is basically the user query. So whenever you are passing the user query, like the user gives an input, so basically the main question that you are putting inside the AI agent while it is running, that's the same thing that's going in the user query. And we have a couple of tools that we have defined. So the first tool is search, the next tool is calculator. I've defined it with calc. So that's how it is defined in calculator.py. And yeah, that you're getting those things. And you're using current input equals to query. So we are initializing the variable here, and we're using the send message from our agent class to basically send the message to the OpenAI API. And this is basically we're printing dash 50 times so that after a certain point you can see basically a line break inside the terminal. Anyways, that's not we are here to focus on. And we're also using a couple of terms. So we are using a range. So range decides how many number of times can this whole process occurs, because we don't want our AI agent to go on indefinitely and work forever until and unless the problem is solved. So after a certain point of time, if you are even if you're not able to solve the answer, it should automatically stop. So we are basically placing a counter here that you can run the whole thing for up to 10 cycles. All right. So, and we are also checking in for the stop inside the response. So if somebody, like if I get the stop sign in the response, even before the whole, whole number of iterations are not over. For example, if the agent has completed the whole process in 3 or 4 iterations, then it will of course print out stop, and we should be stopping the program because, well, what's the point running it for the rest of the 7 times, right? Anyways, so yeah, that's the thing. And so this is telling in that if you are getting any kind of action, just use the tools and the action input inside it, and you need to continue. And what will happen is that the action function will be called, and inside the action function, you will get the input in the form of the LLM based query that you are getting. So the same query will be put inside the action function, and the action function will be called out. The resulting answer will be provided to the LLM once again. And that's how the whole thing is basically working. And if you get the final answer, just print out the final answer. And if you basically are not even able to find, in case you're not able to find the final answer, or even before finding the final answer, your maximum turns have reached, just print out the number of turns, uh, right? That you have finished the number of cycles. So that's how it's working, and I'll basically show you live demo of how it is working. So I'll just show up main.py and should start right away. Okay, so what is the combined GDP of India and China and USA? Let's try. So in turn one, it is showing me the combined GDP, and it's showing me the thought that the combined GDP of USA and China, I just need to calculate them individually. Now the action is basically search and the GDP of China, and it is showing me inside the debug that it has extracted the GDP of China, and it has found the GDP of China is 19 trillion. And then inside the next action, it is showing me that the next thing is basically I have to calculate the GDP of US. So similarly, you've got GDP of China, GDP of US, and GDP of India. And then the thought has gone to I have to basically add 3 things, and you have to add basically these 3 figures, and this will get in turn get passed on to the calculator tool, and the agent will basically use the calculator tool to calculate all these 3 figures, and it has got this figure, right? And you can see the final answer has been generated, and basically it has printed stop that you can't see in the debug, and that's why it is not running any more cycles. So once the final answer is already generated, it will stop the whole process and the function will stop running. So, and the final answer will be printed, basically the combined GDP of the 3 countries is this much. So we can basically use it for more complex tasks, but there will be problems because you don't handle edge cases properly, because we haven't handled edge cases properly in the system prompt. Like if I slightly change the question, it will not be able to do it. So let's just slightly change the question. So what is the GDP? Maybe it can do, maybe it can't do. Let's see. So what is the total GDP of India and China? Okay, it's able to do it. So basically, there are many ways you can use to basically, okay, yeah, 21.516 trillion. That's the correct answer. Okay, so like there are basically many ways you can use to break this code, and one of the ways is to use very complex search and very complex mathematical equations. Like you can use trigonometric equation inside the prompt. You can use integrals, differentiations, and everything. And also you can, implement complex search methodologies so as to increase the complexity here. And that's how you will understand like how to basically uh, improve the edge cases where the code will basically fail. Um, so that's the whole thing. So now we have basically understood how AI agents are working from ground up just by using the OpenAI API. And yeah, for generating various kind of tools, you have to use some libraries, but that's okay. Tools are something different from AI agents. Um, and yeah, that's the whole process. Let me know how do you think the YouTube video went, and I would love to hear your feedback. Thank you.